People keep doing this stuff on Bel'Veth as well. They keep doing the Conqueror stuff, and he's probably also maxing Q, right? Yeah, he's maxing Q too. So sad. It's so sad. Smoj. Smoj, smoj, smoj. So, look. It seems like pros just arrived at the Frostfire Bel'Veth. So when Bel'Veth came out, I probably played about 120-ish games of Bel'Veth, right? We learned really quickly that Kraken was f***ing bait. It was really bad. So Kraken's really bad with Bel'Veth. So then, you have to go Frostfire Gauntlet, right? This was the progression. Now, the reason that Kraken was bad was because Kraken served no purpose versus squishies, and it only served a purpose against tanks. But Bel'Veth is a reset champion. She enters the fight later, which means that it doesn't matter that she's really good with Kraken Slayer against killing tanks, because her main job is to be like a disruptor in a team fight. She also kind of functions like a bruiser in that regard, and she really likes having enchanters. So not to make her totally squishy and like glass cannony in a way that's only optimized to kill tanks, you go Frostfire Gauntlet so that you're able to have like a little bit of slows, a little bit more utility. You have a lot of HP, so you're harder to burst down. Gives you a lot more value. You get the resistances, right? So that's where initially we arrived at. And then after playing more and more and more, one of the things that I really realized is that her E gives so much EHP on the lifesteal, and with the way that Grievous Wounds completely sucks dick right now, in most cases, sometimes when you go the tank build, your build often ends up getting stuck, and it gets stunted. And what I mean by that is, like, when you're on the bombies, and then you have the Null Magic Mantle, and you have the Cloth Armor and stuff, you're kind of stuck. And even when you complete the Frostfire, if you're on, like, totally even footing, your power still isn't really there. So then, thought, well, how can we better optimize this? And so you arrive at the conclusion of Shield Bow, because Shield Bow gives you a lot of EHP, gives you HP, the lifesteal ties into Bel'Veth's E, which then equates to EHP as well, and then Bel'Veth gets a lot of value from obviously having the Shield Bow item in general, and then also you get Noon Quiver for doing everything. Now, the better way to also go about this is because Conqueror, a lot of people don't realize this about Conqueror. Can you guys see this? Yes, Conqueror. Basic attacks and spells deal damage to an enemy champion, grants 2 stacks to Conqueror for 5 seconds, getting 1.7 attack damage per stack up to 12 times. Ranged champions gain only 1 stack per basic attack. When fully stacked, heal for 8% of the damage you deal to champions. This is not inside of Bel'Veth's modifier for her E. Conqueror's healing does not play into Bel'Veth's E, so it doesn't do anything. Now, because Bel'Veth has all these other modifiers on her E and on her auto attacks and just everything that she does, Conqueror fucking sucks. This is such a shit rune that does literally all, and then eventually what Bel'Veth ends up doing inside of, you know, like team fights and whatnot, she uses a lot of her attack speed, she uses E, right? She plays around these two things. But when you get into the fight and you start to use the Conqueror and everything like that, you use all of your abilities just to get the stack starting to ramp up. So the way to do it better is Lethal Tempo, because it directly ties into her abilities and it gives her more value inside of fights. And then when you have full lifesteal and you have Overheal and you have Bloodline, it's ultimately giving you EHP greater than any of the healing that Conqueror can give you. And because it's giving you attack speed, it's giving you Bel'Veth passive passive things, and then it's giving you more applications of Blade of the Ruin King because of the enhanced attack speed, thus equating to more damage. So, anyways, whatever, man. I don't care. This is why I hate talking about League of Legends. Just talked for fucking like 5 minutes. Totally useless, man. Totally fucking useless.